All right, guys, so here it is. Engine installed. Cummins 6BT P-pump. It was from either 94, 95, 96, 97. No, it's not a 98. But yeah, it fits. So this is for people who just kind of tuning in. This is an 80 series chassis with 75 series Ute cab that is going on. So I'll give you all a little walk around of engine and engine components. As you can see, here are engine mounts, and I am using the stock Toyota 80 series frame mounts. Kind of blows your mind that a 6BT will drop straight into an 80 series without any frame modifications, when Toyota diesels need some modification on the frame. I don't know about all of them, but some of them I know, at least here in the States, when people are doing engine swaps, they are making new frame mounted brackets. So back to the engine. So here is right side engine mount, same thing, didn't move. Clearances are on this side. It looks like there's plenty of room, but so here's one thing you gotta be aware of. AC, which mounts down here, interferes with the frame rail. So most of the 6BT conversions, just like the one I have on my 80, you get a new custom modified accessory rail, and so basically what that does is push everything up. So on my 80, this tensioner moves to here, alternator moves down just a tad, and then the AC will go on top. Now I am not running AC, so I will be using a just an AC delete pulley, which will mount right up here once I get that accessory rail. I think it would fit here, and I would still clear, but I am going to run the new rail. So a couple things that kind of help out with the accessory rail is this is down a little bit lower, so it will go right into an 80 series radiator. On this one I will be running a custom radiator of some sort when I get to that point, and it also redirects the thermostat housing, moves that up this way, and then you can actually point it whichever way you're going to go. So right now I have it pointed over here on my 80 that goes into the gas radiator. So custom radiator, I may just make that go boom straight over here, leaving this side free and clear. Now when you get over to driver's side, left side here in the States, your tightest clearances are going to be for your steering box with the front cover, which, I mean, there's hoses in the way, but you can kind of see that it's close, but not a big deal. It's the same on my 80. Now the vacuum pump, power steering pump, it's a little tight there. So what I will do is, for these hoses, I'll get a custom hose that will go from here, or actually this port, and then it has to go into that port right there. And then the return line, that doesn't matter, that can just go. That's not a high pressure line, so that won't be too hard. Steering linkage, still plenty of room. Point it, you know, goes in there. Rear of the engine, so the cab is mounted where I think I'm going to put it. Now it may go up or down a little bit depending on the mounts. Once I get to making mounts, I'll go with factory spec. Back here, plenty of room between the firewall and the back of the engine. I may have to move the cab a little bit, but I will mock up the fenders out here, put the front on, so then I can kind of mock up where the radiator is going to sit, make sure and that I don't need to move any frame mounts and move the engine back. I don't want to do that. I didn't do it on the 80, don't want to do it on this one. Another one that's tight clearance is, so as you can see, this steering brace that goes all the way across. I mean, it is, I don't know if you can see that, try to get a good, there, you can see there's not much clearance between the oil pan and that. And that is the same clearance I have in the 80s, so I'm sitting good here. So some of the kits out there here in the States, they actually want you to cut out that brace and move it down an inch. The engine sits a little bit lower. My engine sits a little higher. On the 80, I have a 1-inch body lift, which I don't want to do on this one, and right now I don't think I'm going to have to do it. And the reason I have it on the 80, mainly for the trans tunnel to fit the NV 4500. Now we'll go over to here, and you can see there's the bell housing. I need to check, and that'll still be a couple weeks at least, or a month, where I mount the transmission and see where that's going to come up through here. And then of course I need to start this thing. So I'll run a gas can here, put some oil in it, run a fuel can, put some diesel in it, and start it up just so we can hear that. A couple other things that I know I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild the turbo. And right now, as you can see, the way it's clocked, it's not clocked the way it should. This was thrown on in the build, as you can see. So this should be perfectly vertical, where you want your oil to run through here and then just drip straight down. You can see it's not vertical, so this part will move clocked like this. And it's not hard. This is separate this and this, so this can move independently. Now it's pretty rusted, so when I rebuild it, I will clean that off as best I can. But that gets hot, just like exhaust manifold. I mean, you can make this thing pretty, and within a week it already looks like a boat anchor because it gets so hot. Surface rust is inevitable. So there you go. As here, one more thing I'll show you is you don't have much clearance between the oil pan and the tie rod. This is why you need a whole lot of lift. I have 4 inches of lift, and a lot of people will actually take that oil pan and notch it. I still may do that just so I don't hit that, but you need to make sure, take the springs out, lower it down, and see where that actually touches, and then I'll make my bump stops accordingly where that won't happen if I bottom out the front end. Couple other things, the fuel heater, which is usually right here, has been deleted, so it will just go from the pump, from the lift pump to the injection pump. I deleted the heater on the 80 as well. I don't like it. It's just another leak point. It does have a sediment filter, so what I do is I just run an inline kind of just like a regular old fuel filter you see on a gas engine, just to pull out some of the sediment before it gets to the fuel filter. Another thing is Dodge usually has a whiff sensor here, water and fuel sensor. Another leak point. I deleted it on the 80. You just find a filter that doesn't have one. This one doesn't even have a manual drain, which is fine. The 80, I found a filter that actually has a manual drain, so I can do that. But I've never got water in my fuel. It's very rare I've heard anybody, at least here, getting water in the fuel. So I'm not worried about having that sensor. Now, having said that, I just remembered my buddy in his Dodge, he's got the Common Rail 5.9. He did get water in his fuel, and with the Common Rails, that's just bad. Now, Common Rail, I would run a fuel water separator, and it wrecked his injection pump, and that was a $3,000 problem with him after it left the shop getting fixed. So there you go. That's your update on the engine. Hope that satisfies you. I know a lot of people, that is what you were waiting on. So now we will get on to mocking up the body and doing that, and then kind of working on engine accessories, things like that in the next video. So there you go. You guys have a good holiday, and I will check back in probably after New Year's, first of the year. So subscribe to the channel. Be ready for the next video. It should get pretty interesting from here on out. So thanks for watching, and see y'all next time.